Coach, how healthy are you? That's got to be the first question for Colgate.
Yeah, right now we're, knock on wood, we're pretty healthy. Yeah, the guys seem to be holding up pretty well in the preseason thus far.
Talk a little bit about your team. You've got a kind of a mix of young guys that have been around a little bit. Not a lot of senior leadership on the roster, but then you've got a lot of interesting new faces. How do they blend?
We do. We have just one senior, Joe Hoban, and Joe really improved his role last year on the team. He played 22 minutes a game, did an outstanding job for us, and he'll be another good player for us this year. But the return of Mike Venezia from a year away, Yao Jaw Yu, and then the emergence of Mitch Rolls last year as a first-year player. Those three guys, we look at them as being primary scorers for us, and good players. They were all rookie players as freshmen, and I think each of them have the ability to be an all-league player, provided they improve and continue to play well. We got some new faces, two freshmen and a transfer. The freshman, Chad Johnson, who's a 6'3", 210-pound guard, big, strong guard from Westlake High School in Atlanta, Georgia. He will definitely be in the mix for us. And then Pat Moore, who was a prolific scorer in high school from Utica, Notre Dame, a local kid, is going to be a very fine player for us. And those two guys are going to be in the mix. And then John Brandenburg, who brings us a big, agile person on the inside, 6'11", 265, and he can move. So we have some interesting situations. We can go big, go Pascal and Brandenburg, or Lazar Bogdanovic, who's 6'9", 245, so we could go 6'11", 6'10". We can go athletic with Sterling Melville and Brandon James and Yao Jaw Yu, go small. We can go four guards. We can throw a lot of different lineups, and I really think we got more depth this year than we've had in the past.
Now, you have all those options, but is there one that you'd prefer to go with? Would you prefer to go with a big lineup or a smaller lineup?
Honestly,
if everything falls into place.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's going to depend on matchups. This game is so predicated on matchups, and there'll be certain games where that big lineup will be a tough thing for other teams to deal with. There'll be other games where, the four-guard lineup could be really good. We got a 6'11" on the inside who can, keep the lane occupied. And so I think it's going to depend on who we're playing, and then also how it evolves in a non-conference schedule, who shows the best chemistry as a group. But it's kind of a nice problem to have these different scenarios.
Now that's a little different approach, because usually coaches want to have a consistent rotation. You're talking, in baseball terms, closer by committee.
Yeah. It is different, and it's different than anything we've ever done, but I'm a firm believer in you have to adjust your coaching style to your personnel. And our personnel right now dictates that, we play that way. And I think we'll be a hard team to scout. We'll be a hard team to play against, because you won't really know which situation you're going to be faced with. And it might be certain games where we'll play different groups, and the one that's having the most success will continue. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be an interesting group of guys to work with.
Brandenburg, if you go back to and put any faith into the rivals and scout and these recruiting services, is probably as high a ranked recruit as the league has had since maybe the other center everybody remembers from Colgate, Donald Foyle. Nobody's seen him much in college. Who would he remind you of as far as any Patriot League players in the past? You've been around the league a long time.
Yeah. He's similar probably to a Stefan Chosic kind of body, but he's more agile than Stefan, and maybe not as skilled, So I'd put him in that kind of he's 6'11", 265, but can move, and he's getting the rust out right now. He hasn't played for 2 years, So
when you're ready, lunch is
I feel like by Patriot League play, he'll be ready. He'll be ready.
And lunch is down the hallway
and be a key player for us.
Now, he had some personal problems in the spring, been documented in the news, trip to Florida. How have you dealt with that as a team? Has that been an issue, and do you Is that a fluke thing? You expect is that a concern for you going forward?
You know, it was a situation that occurred, and we handled it, you know, internally with our discipline code and did the things that we needed to do. And he's, you know, right now he's a full-fledged on-board player, and everything is moving forward. And you know, you're always concerned about all your players, but he's certainly doing all the right things right now.
Everything holds together. Everybody stays healthy. What do you expect out of this team?
Well, I think if we can stay healthy and the team comes together, we'll be a team that can compete with anybody in the league on any given night. And I would hope we'd be an upper echelon team at the end of the season. You know, there's a lot of basketball to be played. A lot of things have to happen. As I look around the league, I think there's 7 other really good teams. I mean, I think this league. I mean, I look at Americans roster. I look at Bucknell's, Lafayette's, Lehigh's, Holy Crosses, Armies, Navies. They're all talented groups of players on those teams. And you know, I look at the league the last couple of years, Chris. The freshman and sophomore influx of talent has really been significant. And I look at like 2 guys on our team, Mike Venezia and Yao Jiayu, which are, in my view, all-league potential players, and they're not getting mentioned as potential all-league players going into the season. And I think you could find 2 or 3 on every team that would fit that bill. But you got, you know, Mike Muscala, who's a sophomore, C.J. McCollum, a sophomore, very talented players, you know, and they're on the preseason first team.
All right, Coach, thank you very much.